So can you please discuss the use of Flexbox layout model?
Okay, so the Flexbox layout model in CSS is actually help us to arrange the element in a container, and even if their sizes are unknown. So it's actually a great for making sure the space is distributed evenly, and it also letting us to grow and shrink to fit the available space. So yeah, this is the use of Flexbox layout model.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What are the main components of a Flex container?
Okay, so the main
Mm-hmm.
component of Flex container includes the Flex container itself and the Flex item which is inside it, which is inside the Flex container. Okay, so the Flex
Mm-hmm.
container is the parent element where we can apply the display Flex and it making its direct children behave as the Flex item.
Mm-hmm.
So I think yeah, this is the main
Okay.
component of Flex container. Yeah.
Okay. So can you please tell me how can Flexbox be used to create a responsive navigation bar?
Okay, so I can tell you that a
Mm-hmm.
Flexbox can be used to create a responsive navigation bar by actually
Mm-hmm.
making each link in the navbar in the navbar a flex item. So basically, this allows the links to adjust their sizes and spacing based on the screen size. Okay, so the
Mm-hmm.
Flexbox property is also help us in align the links horizontally or vertically. So yeah, this is how we can
Okay.
actually use the Flexbox, create a responsive navigation bar.
Okay. Okay. Uh, can you please explain the use of reduce method in arrays?
Okay, so basically the reduce methods in JavaScript is used to combine all the element in array into the single value. So it goes
Mm-hmm.
through each item in the arrays and actually applies in a functions we define to accumulate each item's value
Mm-hmm.
into the total. So this is also useful for calculating and finding products on any operation we want need to deliver a single result from the multiple elements. So this is the use case of reduce methods in array in JavaScript.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell me like what is async await in JavaScript?
Okay, so async await in JavaScript is actually help us to manage the task that takes times, just like
Mm-hmm.
the downloading data, and we can also use the asyncs to create a functions that can wait and await and when we talk about the await, so it's actually used to pause it at a certain step until those tasks is finished. So this makes
Mm-hmm.
our code more cleaner and easier to follow and almost like normal code. So this is the use case, this is the async await in
Okay.
JavaScript. Yeah.
Okay. 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 So, like, can you tell me like how does async await improve handling asynchronous code?
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
basically the async await simplifies the handling task at a time, and just like loading data. So it's also allow us to write the clear and linear code without a messy callbacks. So this will actually make our code easier to read and maintain. So and it will also reducing the errors and improving the flow of tasks that depend on each other to complete. So I think this
Mm-hmm.
is how async await can improve the handling asynchronous task code.
Okay. Mm, okay. So, can you explain the concept of immutability in JavaScript?
Yeah, I can actually explain the concept of
Mm-hmm.
immutability in JavaScript. So immutability in JavaScript means that once a value is created, so it can't be changed.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to modify an immutable objects, we can also create a new one with the changes. So
Mm-hmm.
this is it's also makes our code more predictable and easier to debug
Mm-hmm.
by preventing the unintended thing changes. So yeah, this is the concept of immutability in JavaScript.
Okay. Okay. So, how can immutability be achieved?
Okay, so immutability is it. So basically, the immutability in JavaScript can be achieved by using the
Mhm.
methods that returns the new objects. So instead of altering the original one. So just let's say an example. So just like the object.freeze methods makes an object immutable, and by using the
Mhm.
concat methods or spread syntax for arrays creates a new array without changing the original one. So this is how we can actually create the immutability. This is how we can actually achieve the immutability.
Okay. Okay. Can you please tell me what are the benefits of using immutable data structures?
Benefits of immutable data structure.
Mhm.
Okay, so by using the immutable data structure, so it actually help us to prevent bugs by
Mhm.
avoiding unintended data changes, and it will
Mhm.
also make our code more predictable and safe. So this actually simplifies the features like undo, redo operations and improve the performance. So especially where the data changes frequently, and it
Mhm.
also actually by allowing the efficient data tracking and updates without altering the original state. So I think this is the benefits of using the immutable data structure.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are JavaScript's built-in methods for string manipulation?
Okay, so basically the JavaScript offer the many methods to handle the text. So to handle the text. So basically, for example, to uppercase methods, which is also used to change the text to all uppercase, and
Mhm.
we have a two lowercase methods, which is used to change all the text to the lowercase. So we can also
Mhm.
use the includes method to see if the phrase in the strings are n, and we can also use the replace methods to actually swap parts of the string. So I think this is the these methods simplify the text manipulation in JavaScript. All I am.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So how can these methods be used to format user input data?
Okay. So
Mhm.
how can these methods be used? So basically, the JavaScript string methods actually help us to format user inputs effectively, and
Mhm.
by actually using the trim methods, we can clean up the spaces and and to lowercase or to uppercase for the consistent casings. And we can actually use the replace methods to remove the unwanted characters. So basically, these methods ensure the inputs are neat and standardized, and these all methods will make them easier to handle and store. So it will actually
Mhm.
make code easier and handle and to store.
Okay.
So this is how you can, yes.
Okay. Got it. Got it. So can you explain the role of DOM content loader loaded event in JavaScript?
Okay, so yeah, I can actually explain the rules. So basically, the
Mhm.
DOM content loaded event in JavaScript signals
Mhm.
that the HTML has been fully loaded and parsed without waiting for the
Mhm.
style sheets and without waiting for the images and subframe to finish loading. So basically, this means that we can actually safely run scripts that actually modified the DOM because all the pages HTML elements are available to be manipulated. So I think this is the
Mhm.
role of DOM content loaded in JavaScript. All I know
Okay.
about. Yeah.
And what does the DOM content loaded event signify?
Okay. So DOM content loaded event in JavaScript actually signifies that all the HTML on the page
Mhm.
has been completely loaded. Okay,
Okay.
so and this
Uh,
actually means that the structure of the page is ready, and we can now safely manipulate the HTML element with the JavaScript without
mhm.
actually waiting for the styles and without waiting for the images or other resources to be finished loading. So this is how the DOM content loading eventually.
Okay. Okay. So how is it different from the load event?
So basically, the DOM content loaded in event.
Your voice becomes very low. Can you speak loudly?
Okay.
Yeah, now it's fine.
So the DOM content loaded event in JavaScript is actually fire
Mhm.
when the HTML is fully loaded and
Okay.
parsed and not waiting for the style sheet or images as I told you earlier. So
Mhm.
basically, and in contrast, so when we talk about the load event, so basically it occurs after all the contents, including the images and style sheets, has to be loaded completely. So this is the
Mhm.
main difference between loaded event and DOM content loaded. And this also makes the DOM content loaded quicker and useful for DOM manipulation. So this is how
Okay.
the DOM content loaded is different from the load event.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are closures in JavaScript and how are they used?
Okay, so the closures in JavaScript actually they let a functions to remember an access variable from where it was created. So even after that place stop existing. So this is the concept of closure. So basically, this is the useful for keeping the certain data safe and private, and this is
Mhm.
also utilized for making the functions that can still use those parts, those private pieces of data whenever they are called. So yeah, this is the concept of closures in JavaScript and how they are used.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, can you explain how closures help in maintaining state in a function?
Okay, so yeah, I can actually explain. So basically, the closures help to maintain the state in a functions by remembering the
Mhm.
variable set. So when the functions was first created. So this actually means that even if the function is called later, so it still knows the original values. So and it
Mhm.
will also allow it to remember the past data across the multiple calls. So this is how actually the closures helps to maintain state in a function.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. Mm. What are the potential pitfalls of using closures, particularly in loops?
Okay. So basically, the by actually using the closures and loops can lead to a mistakes, especially if we are not careful. So basically, the common issue is when the closures capture the final value of the variable after the loop finishes, and actually not the value during the each iteration. So this can actually cause all the functions created in the loop to use the same value. So I think this is the main potential pitfall of using closures, particularly in the loops.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, can you tell me what are the keys in React and why are they important?
Okay, so yeah, I can actually tell you about the keys. So
Mhm.
basically, the keys in React are the special attribute which is used in list to give the element a stable identity. So
Mhm.
they actually help the React to track which item has changed and which item has been added or removed. So basically,
Mhm.
this makes updates more efficient, and it's actually prevents the bugs during re-renders, and it will also ensure that the user interface elements reflect the most accurate state of data. So
Okay.
this is the keys in React and why are they important.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do keys help in optimizing the rendering process of a list in a React?
Okay, so uh, basically, the keys helps to React to identify which item in a list have changed or are added or to remove. So
Mhm.
basically, that this actually lets React only update the necessary part of the interface instead of re-rendering the entire list. So
Mhm.
actually, so this optimizations makes the apps faster, and it will actually improve the smoother, and especially with the large set of frequent updates. So this is how the
Okay.
keys helps in optimizing. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, what problems might you encounter if you use indexes as key in React list?
Okay. So Basically, by using the indexes as a keys in React, so React
Mhm.
list can actually cause the issues when the list changes. So just like the items being added or items being
Mhm.
removed. So basically, this can lead to the incorrect renderings or bugs because the React might reuse the wrong component. So just like thinking they have not changed. So I think it's better to use the unique identifier as a key for is for stable and reliable updates. So yeah,
Okay.
so these are the problem. So
Mhm.
might we encounter we use the indexes as a React keys.
Okay. What is a virtual DOM and how does React use it?
Okay, so
Uh,
basically the virtual DOM is actually a copy for real DOM. So
mhm.
uh, which actually that actually React used to make the update faster and smoother. So when something changes in a React app, so React first updates the virtual DOM, and then it compares the virtual DOM with the real DOM, and then they update only the part that changes. So this actually makes the app efficient and more controllable. So this is the concept of virtual DOM and how does the React use it. So yeah.
Mm. Okay. Can you describe the process of reconciliation in React?
Okay, so basically the process of reconciliation in React is that the reconciliation in React is the process of comparing the current state of the app's virtual DOM with
Mhm.
the previous state. So basically the React identifies what has changes and then updates only those parts in the real DOM.
Mhm.
So basically this is selective updating makes the app faster and responsive, and it will also actually avoiding the complete rebuild of the DOM. So
Mm.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. How does the virtual DOM improve performance in React applications?
Okay, so virtual DOM improve performance in React application. Okay. So I think the virtual DOM improves performance in the React application by actually allowing React to make updates more efficiently. So basically, the instead of changing the real DOM directly, which is actually a slow, which is actually a slow. So I think the React updates the virtual DOM first, and then it only applies the necessary changes to real DOM. So it will also reducing the amount of work and speeding up the
Mm.
application. So this is how the virtual DOM improves the performance in React application.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you explain the concept of higher order components in React?
Yeah, I can actually explain the concept. So uh,
Mhm.
basically the higher order components in React are functions that takes the component and returns a new component. So this is the concept. So basically they add extra features or they add the extra behaviors to the original component
Mhm.
without changing its code. So the higher order components helps in reusing the codes, and they will make it easier to manage and enhance the component across
Mhm.
the application. So this is the concept of higher order components in React.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, how can this high order components be used to enhance a component's functionalities?
Okay. So basically the higher order component enhance the
Mhm.
component's functionality by actually wrapping it with the additional logic. So
Mhm.
let's take an example. So they can add features just like logging or just like fetching data or handling user authentication. So by using the higher order component, so we can easily apply these feature to the multiple component, and this is also keeps our code clean and consistent without repeating the same logic again and again. So this is the yeah, this is how the higher order components enhance the component functionality.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain how props and state differ in React?
Okay, so how props and state differs in React. So basically, in React, props are used to pass data from one component to another. So just like
Mm-hmm.
the functional argument. So basically, they are the read only and cannot be changed by the receiving component. So and when we talk about the state, so it is
Mm-hmm.
used to manage data within a component, and it can also change over a time and trigger re-renders when updated.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is how the this is how props and states differ in React.
Okay. Okay. So how do changes in props and state trigger re-render in a React component?
Okay, so basically okay, so basically in React, when the props or state changes, so the component actually re-renders to reflect the updates. So and the props changes come from the parent component. So and while the state changes happens within the component itself. So okay, so basically the React detects these changes and automatically re-renders the component to show the latest data and updates on the screen. So I think, as per I know, this is how the changes in props and states trigger the re-renders in React component.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you describe a scenario where you would lift state up in a React application?
Okay, so yeah, I can actually describe a scenario. So we can actually lift the state up in React application when the multiple components need to share the same data. So this is the scenario where we can lift the state up. So let's take an example. So if two siblings components both need to access or update a value, so we actually move the state to their common parent. So by this way, so the parent manages the state and passes to down as a prop. So this is actually the scenario wherever we lift the state up in a React application.
Okay. Thank you.